All right, so one of the really classic things you use in hacking is Metasploit. It's the all-purpose attack tool. It's the open source free version of paid products like Canvas. And so you can use it to attack any of hundreds of vulnerabilities as long as there's an old version of something running. And so what I'm going to do is this one. ActiveMQ is some kind of Apache service, and the old version had a vulnerability. So you just have to install Java on your Windows machine, and then you have to install this thing called ActiveMQ, which for some reason takes 5 minutes to download, even though it's just 50 megabytes or so. So now I have to start it. So I have to go to its directory and then ActiveMQ bat start. So let's see if that's going to work. I just downloaded it on my Windows machine here. So I have to unzip it, just like we were talking over there. Extract all, extract. All right, like I say, it's not very big. Doesn't take long to unzip. All right, so now I go to my terminal and I go into the downloads, and then directory will show me that there's a folder called ActiveMQs, or so Apache. Okay, now I do a directory in here. All right, and now it's bin activemq.bat starts. Let's try that to see if I can get this to show the whole window correctly. There. So bin / active. All right, that seems to be weird. Let's do a dir here. Oh, okay, looks like I have to go into another layer of directory. Okay, there's the bin directory. So now I should be able to do a dir of bin, and in there's a thing called activemq.bat. So I do bin / activemq.bat. Okay, and then start. I need a space before the start. There we go. All right, so that is loading something. And looks like it's working. There it is. It's starting something listening on port 8161. So it's running. Yep, that's what you want. When it's listening on 8161, this thing, I don't really know what it does, but whatever it is, it's vulnerable, and we're going to attack it. So now we're going to use Metasploit. Now, if you have a Debian machine, you have to install Metasploit. If you have Kali, it's already on there. So I shouldn't need to install it. And it shouldn't need to install Nmap either. So the first thing we're going to do is Nmap it on port 8161 to see if it's working. So I'm going to get the IP address here. I want to have a new terminal on my Windows machine, which is here. Right click, left click should give me a new terminal. I say. All right, somehow it didn't pop to the front, but there it is. So now I can do ipconfig. Okay, 195. Okay, so now I go to my Kali machine, which I may not have running. Let me launch up my Kali machine, which is here. Okay. All right. And I'd like to make it smaller, but I think I have to wait till I log in to make it smaller. All right, Kali. Okay, there it is. All right, and like I say, I usually run without a GUI because almost all the Linux tools I use are command line only, and these are too. So let me get this bigger. All right, so first I'm going to nmap, and it's -SV -P 8161, and then that address from the Windows machine, which was 192, 168, 121, 195. I don't think I can copy and paste between machines, but let's give it a try. Yeah, in Windows it's right-click to copy and enter to paste or something. Okay, it's right-click, and let's see if it'll go in Kali. I'm skeptical. Paste. Ooh, that's nice. That requires VMware tools to work in both environments, and it usually doesn't. Anyway, so I can do that. And I think that's all I want, SV. Okay, let's see what that does. That should detect the service running on the Windows machine. What's that? Oh, playing a video, I guess. Okay, all right, yeah. Anyway. All right, so it's there. All right. And all right, so that's good. The service is running, so now we can exploit it. We use MSF console. Okay, and quiet just means it won't print a big ugly banner to get in my way. MSF console is the command line interface for Metasploit. There are other parts of Metasploit too, like it can make standalone malware. We'll use that tomorrow or the next day in the exploit development part. But this is the interactive mode. So in interactive mode, you can search for vulnerabilities. So we're using this thing called ActiveMQ, so we can search to see what it can do for ActiveMQ. And you see it has a bunch of attacks for ActiveMQ. And I make this window bigger so we can see the whole story. It'll tell you the rank is excellent, which means it's really very likely to work. Others are normal and so on. So, all right. And so anyway, there are ActiveMQ attacks, and the one we want is the one that works on version 5.1.1, a directory traversal. So here it is, 5.11 directory traversal. That's number 4 right now. It changes with the version of that, which one you have, but I can use that number 4. I could give it the whole path, or I can just use the number, use 4, which is easier, of course. Use number 4. Okay, so here we are using this thing, JSP shell reverse TCP. That's the wrong one. Okay. Let's see if there's another 5.1.1. Oh, okay. Somehow the 4 didn't work. Okay, I'll use this whole path then. I've seen that 4 work before, but something went wrong. So I'll copy, and I'll say use that stuff. I tried that, and it did the wrong thing. I know, that's weird. I've done that before and it worked, but today it didn't work. Okay, now it's doing the traversal upload, which is what we want. Yep, traversal upload. Okay, so once you've chose the attack, you usually have to adjust parameters. Then you find them out with show options. All right, it tells you about this attack. It tells you what you need. So I need a password to authenticate with, a path, proxies, rhosts. These are other required. A bunch of things are required. A lot of them are already filled in, like port 8161. And then there's optional ones. And first there's the attack parameters, which there's an attack like a way to inject a command. And then there's what you're going to do after you inject the command. That's the payload. So by default, this one is going to start a listening port on 4444, which is a common default attack. It's also not a very smart attack. Because normally, if you run malware on a machine, on a server, and you start listening on a port, you can't get to it because the firewall blocks it. What you usually want is a reverse shell calling out to your command and control server. However, in a lab environment, this is good enough. But in a real pen test, you would not use that payload. You use a payload that calls out to your command and control server, because the Windows firewall, by default, lets you make outgoing connections, but it blocks unexpected incoming connections. But anyway, in this case, it'll be all right. Anyway, the parameters we had to set is rhosts and lhosts. And so the rhost is the Windows target, and lhost is the Linux target. It needs both of those. So let's see if I can. Windows target is here. Okay. In fact, I had it in the clipboard. Let's try that again. Enter copies it. All right. It ends in 195. Let's see if this is going to work. And that is supposed to be rhost. Okay. Set rhosts. All right, let's see if I can do Shift-Control-V. Ooh, okay, that's nice. And I think this Linux machine is actually just one below that, but I'll open a new terminal to find out. There. IPA. It is 194, that's what I thought. Okay, so set lhosts, and I'll paste that in and change the last digit to 4. Okay. And I think that's all I need for this one. Let's try exploit. So now it tries to send network traffic to the target to exploit that vulnerability. And supposedly it will work. And we will find out. It's kind of slow, but Java is always slow. So maybe it's okay. Yep, looks like it's moving. Payload executed. Okay, I guess it worked, and so we should get a shell. Now I'm on a Kali Linux machine, but this is a Windows command line. So I can do like sysinfo, I think. Or how about who am I? There, I am a desktop machine student. I'm a Windows identity. I'm now controlling a Windows machine for the Linux machine. That's what's awesome about Metasploit. When it works, it just gives you a shell automatically, or even like attacks to automatically try a whole bunch of attacks until something works and all that. It's like the pen tester's Swiss Army knife, especially for beginning pen testers. They're not really very good to like write their own attacks or anything. This lets you try all the usual attacks. The only problem is the only stuff in Metasploit is stuff that's known and patched. So you're only going to get in if there's something, left an old version of something on there, but in practice, they almost always do. How many people really update everything? Even if you update Windows, you have to update all the software. And somewhere there's somebody to put on a game or a printer driver or some damn thing and didn't update it. So you can usually get in with Metasploit. So that's the thing to learn. And all right, and now you could, might as well, now that you're in, you could do anything in the command line that you can do in Windows. Now there's also a thing called Meterpreter, which is their special remote control software that gives you a whole series of extra commands, like to steal passwords and stuff. But in this case, we're just getting a plain command shell. Anyway, so check that out. Metasploit is a rite of passage. Everybody should learn how to use Metasploit. It's like lesson 2 in pen testing. After Nmap, you learn Metasploit. So it wouldn't be getting your money's worth if you didn't use Metasploit to some extent. All right, that's what I wanted to show you. I'm going to stop this video.